Hi. Today we're going to talk about what happens if a house you wrote an offer on doesn't appraise. You're going to have several options, and if you contact the seller about it, they're going to have several options. So I think it's important for you to know before you say anything to the seller. For the ease of numbers, I'll just say a house was for sale for $95,000 and you offered $100,000 because you wanted to be competitive, and you got it. And you had $20,000 down for down payment. If a house doesn't appraise at $100,000 that you offered, and it only appraised at $95,000, you may not be able to get the financing you were looking for, and so the lender is not going to finance above the $95,000, even considering your down payment. So you're going to have to either come up with an additional $5,000 to go through with the sale, or you can choose to contact the seller and say, hey, this house didn't appraise, what are we going to do about it? And the seller then has also several options. One is to say, I'm contesting this, it's incorrect, my neighbor's house sold for 120, my house is better, I'm going to fight this, which is going to slow the process down. They could say, fine, we'll just sell it for $95,000, or they can say, no, you got my hopes up, and now I think my house is worth $100,000 and I'm going to go back on the market and I'll take my chances with another buyer. Keep in mind, at that moment you may feel like you have options, but one thing to keep in mind is the contract is written very much in a way that favors the buyer. There's more protections for the buyers than there are for sellers. So, for example, during the inspection period, you can unilaterally terminate the contract if you see anything wrong with the house. But here is the only place the seller can refuse to sell the house to you. When you let them know that the appraisal didn't come in, they then have the right to unilaterally terminate the contract, which most sellers don't want to. But I knew of a case where a seller absolutely disliked the buyer the longer they got to know them, and they felt really bad to bring this person into the neighborhood. And so they were looking for an out, and they literally don't have an out. Sellers do not have an out once they sign a contract to agree to sell to you. They have to go through with the sale, basically. And this is the one place where if you let them know it didn't appraise, they then get that right to terminate the contract. So I just wanted you to know that risk before you contact the seller. But this is what happens. Most people come up with the cash to make up the difference between the appraisal and the price they're willing to pay. And some people ask the sellers to reduce the price, which also happens a lot. I hope that was helpful.